What's up? I love how awkward this is because I still don't actually know when the thing goes live. So last week, this is a new service. Last week, I was just sitting here with a stupid look on my face for 12 seconds. And now this time, I might be in the middle of a sentence when it goes live. Anyway, what's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. I'm here for another uh, TEM Coaching Chat, which are happening on Tuesdays at approximately 10 p.m. Eastern. I wanted to first give you a quick This Week in Pedal Note Media update. TEM 247 dropped today. It's all about procrastination and how that's actually just a 5-letter word for fear. I talk about, I also in that episode talk about how some of some of the lies we tell ourselves that tricks us into thinking that we are too busy. There's a few of them that basically justifies our procrastination and is just a desperate attempt for us to not face the fact that we're actually afraid of something. And then I get into what we're afraid of because it's a couple of potential things. So yeah, you can hear that on tem.fm or anywhere you get podcasts. TBJ 181 also came out today featuring Kevin Newton of Amani Winds. I don't care if you're not a brass player. I don't care if you don't know who the Amani Winds are. Actually, I do care because that's not good for you because they're spectacular. This is a remarkable young man. I am telling you, listen to this interview. He is Lance and I both left just uplifted and recharged and energized and he's a gift. So he's a gift. You need to check out TBJ 181. And some big news, personal news and Pedal Note Media news is that I am starting a new podcast. Which right? It's like, do I really need a new podcast? But I do. I've decided that I do. I am starting a podcast called the Practice Coach Podcast, which is going to be all about practicing. I guess it would be weird if it was about something other than practicing with that name, but I am going to have interviews with musicians doing deep dives into specific topics. There'll be different ones each time. And I'm also going to be offering some practicing tips, and I'm really excited. I think it's going to be great. And season 1 is going to be, I believe, 10 episodes. I'm doing seasons. It's not going to be just like a never-ending podcast, but season 1 is going to debut on Monday, January 31st. So you will be able to hear all about that at hitzacademy.com and also at pedalnotemedia.com. And then the last thing along the lines of the announcements is the TEM book clubs happening for the first time ever. It's completely free. February 6th at 8 p.m. Eastern. The book we are reading is Atomic Habits by James Clear. This book has had a profound impact on me as a human, as a businessman, as a musician, as a teacher, performer, husband, father, all of it. Changed my life. It is free to participate, but it does require registration, and I'm not having very many spots because book clubs with a lot of people suck. So, or with too many people, suck a lot. So go to tem.fm/book club to sign up while there are still spots available. When I checked before this started, there were some spots available. So hopefully see a bunch of you there. Okay, so I am going to talk to you about systems and about partnering with people. And I wanted to talk to you about, first of all, I wanted to formally and publicly welcome Joshua Thompson, who is, I'm just going to read his blurb from the Pedal Note Media website. I just threw this up last night. Joshua Thompson is an educator, performer, composer, and LGBTQ plus advocate, currently based in Washington State. He enjoys composing solos for tuba and euphonium with electronics that transport the soloist into different soundscapes. Joshua shares his experiences as a transgender man through the music he performs and composes. He strives to improve the education experience of LGBTQ plus students and is currently writing his master's thesis, Inclusive Pedagogy for Transgender Students in Music, which combines his lived experience as a transgender man with strategies for educators to make their teaching more inclusive. So Joshua is awesome. Joshua reached out to me over the summer, I think. I'm just old enough that I can't really remember anything. And I just forget that if I just say, reached out to me over the summer, nobody knows any better. And then you just believe that I can remember stuff. But no, I'm too honest sometimes. Anyway, Joshua reached out and we spoke on the phone. We totally hit it off. He's awesome, and so we decided to work together. He's an intern, and then in exchange for some like TEM coaching and kind of like career guidance, that kind of thing. And so we started to work in the fall, and it was not successful at all. And it was 100% my fault. I hope that no one stops watching the stream right at the second after I said it wasn't successful and didn't hear it was 100% my fault, because I did not put Joshua and put us in a position to succeed. There was just a lack of structure, a lack of a lot of things, and it just kind of like organically just kind of fell apart. Well, guess what? I got some good news. Is that we have now implemented a system. We're only in week 2 of this system, and I am bragging about it and about us and about Joshua because it already feels like this has legs right now. We made a structure of a typical week, and there are certain things that Joshua is going to be helping me with every week, such as, for example, I post the show notes for every TEM episode, goes up at tem.fm on the blog. And that has to also get put on the Pedal Note Media website, because every TEM episode is also up there. And that's something where everything is already written. It just needs to go up there, but there's like a lot of particulars. So that is something that Joshua is doing, but it's not just a, hey, can you do this? We have now figured out, and we spoke and we figured out when it was going to work in his schedule. Like there's like, it's like, this is not rocket science, but we just very intentional and thoughtful about it. And now it's like set to go. I made a couple of videos where I just recorded a Zoom call just like this. And I showed Joshua exactly how to do it, because there's like a whole bunch of none of it's hard. But it's a lot of busy work, and there's like a lot of things you have to swap this setting, and you have to change this URL, and you have to duplicate the previous. It's just a whole bunch of uninteresting stuff, but it all has to get done because each blog post has to look the same. And the good news is you don't have to build each new post from scratch, but you have to make sure that you change everything that needs changing. So anyway, bottom line is that that things are going really well, and I didn't just write it down. I actually screen shared and showed while recording a video. We didn't even do that live because there was no reason to have in the past I would have written it down, which is like pretty good but it would have been way more work for me and not quite as effective for Joshua. And then I would have next iteration of this, a couple of years ago, I would have had Joshua on a live call to actually do it and then say, do you have any questions? And then this one, I was like, I don't know. I think I recorded this in the morning, which means Joshua lives in Washington State. It was like 6 a.m. there. And I recorded this thing. And I certainly didn't say, I need you to set your alarm for 5:30 and make sure you have some coffee because I'm going to show you this once. I just recorded videos, and they are how-to videos, which are now they're set to, private links. And so Joshua can go and watch those as many times as he wants. And my guess is that he'll watch it for the first few weeks. And then those watches will probably, those viewings, I think would be actual English, will start to dwindle. And then maybe just, then it'll be on autopilot. But I'm really excited that we have a structure in place. So this is like same me, same totally, energized, go-getter young man looking to help. And the fall was not successful, and it wasn't a complete failure. What I asked Joshua to do specifically, all of it got done. That's why this was 100% on me. But I got my what together, and then as a result of that, we got ours together, and now things are going really well. So and I also wanted to finish with this, is that the fact that I talk a lot in TEM coaching and also in lessons. So in like Hitz Academy lessons, so with students and with clients, I talk a lot about the difference between intrinsic versus external motivations. Intrinsic motivations are inside, and external motivations are external. Those involve other people, and it's not quite binary. I didn't show up for this TEM coaching chat. I believe it was 2 Tuesdays ago. It was like we were 2 days into a week of school that was canceled due to snow. Nicholas's schedule, his sleep schedule was all out of whack. It was just like I didn't show up, and maybe somebody noticed and was like, oh, that's a bummer. I wouldn't necessarily bet a whole bunch of money that anybody actually noticed. I think more, and I'm having some regular viewers of this, but it's more like they see the notification, go, oh yeah, and then hop in. I just haven't been doing this long enough for anybody to probably miss it in real time. But nobody was mad, nobody was disappointed, nobody was let down that I didn't do this. But if I tell you that we're going to have a TEM coaching hour that you have purchased, and that it is at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, if I don't show up for that, something very, very bad has happened, right? I have been whisked off on an emergency, or I'm having health problems or something, because and that's just not because I'm just so righteous. Like, there would be professional consequences for me if I take your money for an hour of TEM coaching and we talk about it and prepare, and then I just blow you off. That's not good, right? It's also not the right thing to do, but even just selfishly, there's some consequences there. So why am I bringing this up now? Is because yesterday was Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and so we all had the day off, and my wife and my son were home. And again, it was one of those, like, kind of, I was out of my normal rhythm. And Monday is usually the day that I'm like writing and maybe recording TEM, because if it comes out on Tuesday, then there's like a lot of things that need to get done before you can listen to an episode. There's a long list of things that have to get done. Well, family was home all day. Also had 2 Brass Junkies interviews yesterday, so 4 straight hours. So when I wasn't in those, then I was with Nicholas, because my wife is also very busy and she had a bunch of stuff that she had to take care of. And so there was no TEM happening yesterday. Well, guess what? The fact that I have this system in place, and that I told Joshua that TEMs were going to be released at 2 p.m. on Tuesdays, and that Joshua has a schedule that is now revolves around that, in terms of finding excerpts from the episode to be able to post on social media, which he's also helping with. I mentioned one thing. Joshua's doing a whole bunch of things, but like the whole week was going to go off the rails if I didn't have the episode done when I had it done. So guess what I did? This is super heroic. You ready for this? No, I had a late meeting last night. I actually ended up writing the episode at about 9 p.m., which got done about 10:15, which was before this 10:30 meeting that I had. And then my meeting got done at 11:30 or so. And then I, got up, stretched, and then at 11:45 is when I recorded the episode, and I then even dropped it into Descript, which is one of the steps that needed to happen today. And I had a few false starts, which I've even gotten better at that, because I've learned that when I have a false start into the mic, that I just stop and I pause so that there's an obvious gap when I look at it. And then I start at the sentence where I had where I read the thing wrong. And it's very easy to go in, even with 3 of them. And I edited it like that. And then this morning, I knew that when I dropped my son off at school, when I came back home, and this was even before I showered, I sat down and I put the whole thing together. And then I mastered it. And then I did the whole thing. And it was actually done by 9:30 this morning, rather than by 2 p.m., which is when my self-imposed, but there was also external motivations, because Joshua was expecting that thing to come out at 2 p.m. And so it's kind of amazing how just one person, and Joshua wasn't going to scream at me if I was like, hey, the episode is coming a day late this week, because that would have been accompanied with, talk to me, can you move everything later a day this week or not? Because I'm not just going to assume that you could shift everything over, because that would be making an assumption that every day was equally as busy or not busy, and that's not true for anyone. So it would have been asked as a question, so it's not like it would have been some grave inconvenience or something incredibly unprofessional, but the system and the fact that there was someone else involved in that system is what inspired me to realize that I needed to write the episode before this late meeting, and I needed to record it after this late meeting, because if I waited until after the meeting, there's no chance I could have recorded at 1 in the morning. I could have. It would have sounded hilariously awful. It would have sounded like I hated music and that I hated being entrepreneurial. So that would not have been a good idea. So, and then I knew that when I got here today, again, I have like my weekly business meetings on Monday morning, which is with myself, where I look at the books and I look at expenses for both Pedal Note Media and for Hitz Academy. I make sure that everything is good, and so that there's like no, it's basically it's my business meeting. It plans my week. That didn't happen on Monday because it was a holiday. So, but it turned out that needed to happen after I got all of this done. So, long story, not short. It's too late for that. But long story, not as long, is that the fact that I got organized, and that is because of Joshua, who is awesome and who is helping. And I'm hoping that Joshua is getting just as much out of this partnership as I am. And so, yeah, it's good. It's good. External motivations are good. Systems are good. And I am hoping, and I'm saying this into the mic, I'm hoping that at 2 p.m. every Tuesday, you can expect, and this is 2 p.m. Eastern, that you can expect a TEM moving forward, and that's the plan. It's just to systemize the thing. Well, it is systemized. I'm just going to try and stick to it now. So thank you to everybody who has been checking out these streams. Again, TEM 247 dropped today. It's all about procrastination, which is actually just fear. TBJ 181 with Kevin Newton. Did I mention how amazing he is? I had heard great things. Like I was like, and Amani Winds is one of the great chamber ensembles like in America. So if you don't know them, you should check them out. But I just could not believe how thoughtful Kevin was in this interview. And I got the Practice Coach podcast, which debuts on January 31st, which is soon. It's funny, you say that into a mic, and then all of a sudden I'm like, I have some work to do. So speaking of which, I'm going to go now. So that is going to do it for this week's TEM Coaching Chat.